Buckle up, buttercups, because another rant's coming. Okay, I have to talk about the bullshit claims of the MCU is in collapse. The MCU is dying. The MCU is in ruins. The MCU has been in a decline for years, and the MCU is dead. Those of you making these bullshit, you guys saying this are more full of shit and brain dead stupid than the movies you're bitching and complaining about. And somebody needs to call out how full of shit you all are, because ain't nobody else doing it, so it's got to be me. So I have to be the one to point out how full of shit and brain dead stupid you all are, because I'm here for you. I do this for you. It's just the kind of guy I am. Now, what is the basis for the claims that the MCU has been in a slow decline, that the MCU is in ruins, that the MCU is dead? What is that? Where did all this come from? Well, we have to go back to 2021, because we can't go back to 2019, because in 2019 you had Far From Home, which made $1 billion and $132 million. You had Endgame, which made $2 billion. You had Captain Marvel, which made over $1 billion. We can't go back to 2018, because other than Ant-Man and the Wasp, which made $600 million, you had Infinity War that made $2 billion, Black Panther that made $1 billion. 2017, you had Thor Ragnarok that made $800 million, Spider-Man Homecoming that made $800 million. You had Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that made $800 million. So you can't even go before 2021. So we have to start at 2021, which was Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals. Eternals made $400 million, Shang-Chi made $432 million, Black Widow made $379 million. This is the foundation. This is the foundation of, this is where the MCU started to collapse. This is where the MCU started to hit the rocks. Now, that bullshit claim only works as long as you ignore every other movie that came out after Eternals. Because after Eternals, in 2021, No Way Home came out, made $1.9 billion. In 2022, Multiverse of Madness made $952 million. Thor Love and Thunder made $760 million. Wakanda Forever made $853 million. Well, hey, morons! Hey, morons! You can't establish that the MCU is in collapse because of 3 movies, and then all of the movies that come after it make $1 billion, $800 million, $900 million. That invalidates your bullshit claim. It establishes that when you said that the MCU, when you use the basis of those movies as the decline of the MCU, when the movies after that are making $800, $900 million, it invalidates your bullshit claim. So you can't even use that as a basis for your argument or your claim that the MCU is dying. Oh, but wait, hold on. In 2023, Quantumania came out, and that only made $463 million. So it's not that the MCU has been in decline since 2021, because again, 2022 invalidated that. So now we have to go back to 2023, which is Quantumania. Okay, so Quantumania made $463 million. So now the MCU is in decline. Now the MCU is dying. Now the MCU is a failure. Well, that only works as long as you ignore the MCU movie that came after it, which was Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which made $845 million. Oops! That ends up invalidating your bullshit claim that the MCU was dying from Quantumania. The only way you can use the MCU movies as a basis to make the claim that the MCU is failing only works if you ignore all of the movies that do well at the box office and then validate and establish that your claim that the MCU is dying is pure utter bullshit. So let me try to make it clear for you. You can't even use the MCU movies as a basis for your bullshit claim that the MCU is dying. Because every time a movie does well, it establishes that the MCU is not in decline. It establishes that the MCU is not dead. So try to understand this. We cannot use the MCU movies as a basis for the claim that the MCU is dead, the MCU is dying, the MCU is a failure. Well, if you can't use the MCU movies, what's left? Oh, wait. Hold on. You guys, you bullshit artists, are so desperate to try to hold on to that bullshit claim. You're using the TV shows not doing well to establish that the MCU is failing. You are resorting. Your claim is so full of shit. Your claim that the MCU is dying and it collapsed and in ruins is such a weak bullshit nothing claim. You have to resort to the TV shows to try to pretend to justify your bullshit claims. Except here's the problem. You can't even use the TV shows because you had the Inhumans TV show that came out in 2017. That didn't affect the MCU. Nobody was talking about the decline of the MCU with the Inhumans being a piece of shit TV show. Luke Cage came out in 2016. 2016 and then 2018 in season 2. Iron Fist came out in 2017. The Defenders came out in 2017. Those shows sucked. Those didn't rake in the views. Nobody was talking about the collapse of the MCU based on those TV shows. The MCU movies weren't affected at all by those TV shows. Then you had Runaways, and Runaways came out in 2018. Cloak and Dagger came out in 2018. Nobody was talking about those TV shows contributing to the collapse of the MCU. Hellstrom, which came out in 2020. Nobody was talking about those TV shows contributing to the decline of the MCU. Wait. Those shows don't count mainly because they invalidate your bullshit claim. But it's like, no, those don't count. Only the MCU TV shows on Disney Plus, only those MCU-based TV shows count. Okay, let's go with that. You start off with WandaVision. Well, you can't use WandaVision because y'all love that. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was mostly positive. There were some issues to it, but nobody was claiming the decline of the MCU based off of the Winter Soldier. Then you had Loki, which was well received. What If, which was well received. You had Hawkeye, which was mixed but mostly positive, so you can't use Hawkeye. You had Moon Knight, which was mixed but still positively received, so you can't even use Moon Knight. So what's left? 2022, Miss Marvel and She-Hulk. That's it. You're in the basis to your bullshit claims that the MCU is dying, the MCU is a failure, the MCU is in collapse. Your entire argument, all those bullshit claims are based solely on the fact that not a lot of people watched the She-Hulk TV show and Miss Marvel TV show. That is how full of shit and weak-ass lame nothing all of your arguments are on the claims that the MCU is dying. Because you cannot use the MCU movies as a basis for that claim. Well, 80, 70% of them are doing well at the box office. So you can't use that. You can't use the TV shows because most of the TV shows you don't even count because they invalidate your argument. So the only TV shows that you're left with is the MCU TV shows on Disney Plus. Well, you can't even use the majority of those because most of them were positively received, and none of them affected the box office results at the movie theaters. So all that's left, you bullshit artists, is all of your claims that the MCU is dying, the MCU is in collapse, the MCU is a failure, the MCU is dead, is based only on the fact that not a lot of people saw the She-Hulk TV show and Miss Marvel TV show. That's it. That's it. That is all your bullshit claims are based off of. See, the thing is, you're establishing why you don't like the current state of the MCU, why you think the MCU is failing, why you feel the MCU is collapsing, why you feel the MCU is dead, why you feel the MCU is in ruins. Well, guess what, Buttercup? Facts don't give a shit about your feelings, and neither do I. You can't even use the woke argument as a basis to the failure of the MCU. Because as much as I hate using this movie as an example, unfortunately, I have to use it. Barbie, the Barbie movie, made over $1 billion at the movie theater. So your claim that the failure of the MCU, the collapse of the MCU, is because of all the woke bullshit, is bullshit because the Barbie movie, which was a woke piece of shit movie, made over $1 billion at the movie theater. Your only argument, your only proof and examples to establish that the MCU is collapsing and failing and dying is not a lot of people saw Miss Marvel and not a lot of people saw the She-Hulk TV show. Do you understand this is what I mean when I say all of you making these bullshit claims, you're full of shit and just as brain dead stupid as the movies you're pretending that you hate, or not that you're pretending that you hate, but you pretend you know what the hell you're talking about. You have nothing. You have nothing except the She-Hulk TV show and Miss Marvel as a basis. I am going to repeat this and I'm going to hammer it into your head so you understand the point I'm trying to make. All of the claims that the MCU is dying is not based off of the box office results of the MCU. It's not based off of the TV shows, because there have been a number of TV shows based off of the Marvel characters that had absolutely zero effect on the MCU box office. Not only that, the MCU box office has absolutely no connection to whether or not people like the TV shows or not. That alone is a weak-ass argument. Like, that's how fucking weak your argument is. You're trying to pretend that the TV show's lack of success somehow is related to the box office, when I've given you a number of TV shows that have absolutely nothing to do with it. And not only that, you even got the Disney Plus TV shows that have absolutely nothing to do with the success or failure of the box office results of the MCU movies. But for some reason, Miss Marvel and She-Hulk, they're different. They're different. Those movies are the ones that are affecting, because those are the only bullshit claims that those are the only the TV shows you can use to try to justify your bullshit claim. And again, you can't even use woke as a bullshit claim to justify your bullshit claim, because the Barbie movie, you are using the fact that you didn't like the She-Hulk TV show and you didn't like the Miss Marvel TV show as a basis for the collapse of the MCU. You are all full of shit. You are all talking out of your ass. You're all bullshit artists. Yeah. Got that out of my system. Rant over. I'm good. Now don't get me wrong. I'm not defending the MCU movies. I have a problem with a lot of the MCU movies. But the thing is, the problem I have with the MCU movies is they're full of brain dead stupid. But that's not the problems you have with the movies. And that's not a problem anybody has with the movies. Because no matter how full of brain dead stupid these MCU movies are, including, and not only just the MCU, DC and everybody else, no matter how full of brain dead stupid these movies are, you guys still watch them. You guys don't care about the brain dead stupid. So I'm not defending the MCU. I'm just simply establishing that when it comes to your claims that the MCU is dying and dead and a failure, guess what? You're all full of shit. Because all I gotta do, for all of you making the claim that the MCU is dying and dead and a failure and collapsing, all I gotta do is go prove it. And guess what? You got nothing. You got nothing. The only thing you can fall back on, is going, not a lot of people saw the Miss Marvel TV show, and not a lot of people saw the She-Hulk TV show. That's it. We can include Secret Invasion, but according to you, the MCU was in a collapse long before Secret Invasion came out. So you can't even use Secret Invasion or Loki Season 2 because, again, you've already been establishing that the MCU has been in a collapse for years. Only you just can't actually pinpoint anything to establish it. Anyway. Yeah, I hope I adequately explained, once again, how you're all full of shit. You're all bullshit artists. You're all talking out of your ass, and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Because the thing is, you don't care that you're full of shit. It doesn't matter that you're full of shit. Because you got the Marvels movie, right? Now, guaranteed, the Marvels movie, I'm guessing that the Marvels movie ain't going to do very well at the box office. And because of that, you're going to use the Marvels movie as further proof, right, that the MCU is dying, that the MCU is a failure, that the MCU is collapsing. Except, what's coming out after that? What's coming out after the Marvels? You got the new Captain America movie. You got the Fantastic Four movie. Now, obviously, if we're going to go by past Fantastic Four movies, that doesn't bode well. But you never know. And you got the upcoming Thunderbolts movie coming out. Well, God forbid any of those movies come out and do well. Because just like with your brain-dead logic of comic book fatigue, a movie doesn't do well. Oh, look, comic book fatigue is set in. Oh, look, an MCU movie didn't do well. The MCU is failing. Further proof that the MCU is failing. Further proof that the MCU is collapsing. But then if the next movie that comes out, if the new Captain America movie does well, if the Fantastic Four movie does well, if Thunderbolts does well, just like how you will conveniently forget about comic book fatigue, you'll conveniently not talk about the success of those movies because it'll invalidate your bullshit claim that the MCU is dying. Now, granted, if, the Fantastic Four bombs and Thunderbolt bombs and the new Captain America movie bombs, fine. Then you got a case. You just got to hope that none of the upcoming MCU movies ever do well. Because if any of the upcoming MCU Marvels do well, guess what? Your claims that the MCU is failing, your claims that the MCU is dying, your claims that the MCU is dead is just as full of shit, will be just as full of shit then as it is now. But then again, you don't care. Because you guys got the memory of a goldfish. Anyway, I could probably go on for another half hour ranting about your brain dead stupid and bullshit, but whatever. I'm done. I don't care anymore. I'm out of here. See ya.